Obviously, as an 18-year-old Muslim college student, I am very different from the usual board members.
For most of my life, I've lived in deep poverty. And for half of my life, I've been homeless.
The neighborhood that I particularly lived in was predominantly black, and my mother saw that the College and Career Center was not up to date.
They either just automatically assume that I don't know what I'm talking about or that I don't believe in climate change.
So I want to be part of the solution instead of just complaining about the issues.
This is 18 with Issues, a show where we talk to teens and first-time voters about the issues that matter to them. Today, we're in Chicago, Illinois, home to one of the most important governor races in this year's midterms.
Because this is a show for and about real-life teens, we have a pretty wide selection of them today. They're all from Illinois, and even though they have different political affiliations, they're all really passionate about making our generation safer and happier and healthier. We have two teen politicians to guide us, and we're going to be talking about some issues that matter. Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
I'm Hadia Afzal. I'm 18 years old, running for DuPage County Board.
Right now, I am on the L on my commute to class. Obviously, as an 18-year-old Muslim college student, I am very different from the usual board members. But I think that provides a unique viewpoint that I think the county board has never had before.
My name is Jake Leahy, and I was elected last April to the Bannockburn School District 106 Board of Education.
I'm walking into my law and public policy class. I think it's PS 322. I ran because I want to be part of the solution instead of just complaining about the issues, because that seems to be something that is really easy to do, but doesn't really help anybody in the long run.
The country has been watching the Illinois governor race because of, how much money has been poured into it. How do you guys feel about that, and what are your thoughts?
I think that money in politics, it cripples a lot of prospective candidates from even jumping in the race in the first place. We talk about the lack of, female candidates or candidates who come from background of color, and I think it comes from an intimidation of the field of politics. What does it mean to even begin to run? They see big races like the governor's race and are scared off of even getting involved at a local level.
I've wanted to run for office just because politicizing my experiences, understanding that I've been impacted by a lot of things that center around lack of resources, income inequality, have really inspired me to want to go into public service and make a concrete difference in this world.
For most of my life, I've lived in deep poverty. And for half of my life, I've been homeless or housing insecure. So when I think about the fact that you need to be a millionaire or a billionaire to even have a shot, it makes me feel discouraged.
Understanding that I'll probably have student loan debt kind of holds me back from running right now. I want to run for alderman right now, but I probably shouldn't because a lot of stuff to pay for.
Only 3% of young people voted in the Illinois primary. Why do you guys think that is?
Politicians who wonder why they're not getting traction with young people, I think, should be coming to the conclusion that they're not talking more or enough about climate change and the environment. For young people, we don't have the luxury of saying, well, we'll be dead by the time we see the impact of polluting. No, we're going to be alive when we see the greater, bigger, more important impacts of dangerous policies to the environment.
I would like to go off of that. I'm a young conservative. I think there's a huge myth out there that conservatives don't believe in climate change and that science is wrong, we hate science. That's not the case. Well, as a young conservative student, it's unfortunate that there's a giant misconception about your conservatives' thoughts about climate change. The fact of the matter is, for me personally, I do believe that climate change is real and that the earth is warming up each and every day. The unfortunate part is every time I try to talk about it with somebody, they either just automatically assume that I don't know what I'm talking about or that I don't believe in climate change, or they just don't want to listen to the questions that I ask.
I think people forget the history of it. Republicans have always been, in support of the environment, from Teddy Roosevelt. Nixon signed the EPA. Things like that those aren't partisan, right? I mean, those are important issues that need to be brought up.
While climate change might be something at the top of mind for a lot of people, I think the focus, especially for younger people, should be, jobs in the economy. My mother grew up in Guatemala, very corrupt country. She came here in the 80s as a legal immigrant, worked 3 jobs to get by, learned English at night. And I think I'm so grateful that I am an American citizen and that I do live in a country that values personal responsibility. And we do have the ability to be whoever we want to be here through hard work.
For me personally, in my experience as an African American woman, is that not everyone can just go off of hard work.
The neighborhood that I particularly lived in was predominantly black, and my mother saw that the college and career center was not up to date, as well as there was a lack of AP and IB courses, and the athletics program was also poor. She actually went back to school in her late 20s to become a teacher, and she was very deliberate in choosing a job that her children could go to that school district.
Our education system is so broken, and it's based off of income and such, that a lot of students aren't able to work hard and get the same result.
Illinois has the least equitable education funding system in the country. It's true that in this country you should be able to work hard and achieve anything, but unfortunately, there are some educational systems that hold people back.
I think it's really hard right now for people to think about young people without talking about gun control in some sense. How do you guys feel as real-life teenagers in Illinois about gun control, and what do you think are some measures we should take?
While its homicide rate is not the highest in the U.S., Chicago has consistently had more killings than any other U.S. city.
I think if you look at crime in the city of Chicago, this is a perfect reflection of how elected officials have let down their constituents. As much as some people want to demonize police officers in this country, when we're not making arrests that only green lights people commit more crime.
When there's talk about gun control, there's also talk about infringing on personal rights, such as the Second Amendment. And I know both sides of the argument say, oh, well, safety over your rights. However, if these rights are infringed upon, when does it end,
There's a myth that left-wing people want to take all your guns and that right-wing people want to give everybody a gun. I think that instead we need to look at common sense gun control, and that we don't need to take away everyone's guns or ban all guns, but we can say, you know what, yeah, if you have a criminal record, it should be harder for you to get a gun.
To me, the gun isn't the issue. It's a people-to-people problem that we're having in this country. So rather than focusing on should we take away handguns or should we take away like assault rifles, I feel like we should learn as people to understand people's backgrounds, understand their situation, and possibly learn how we can come to like a conclusion on how to express our emotions without going straight to anger or confusion.
I wanted to thank both of our candidates here who have spent their time talking to us, and thank all of you for sharing some really intimate stories and just giving us your opinion. So thank you guys. Today we're in Chicago, but who knows where we'll go next. Stay tuned for more episodes of 18 with Issues as we travel the country talking to first-time voters about the issues they care about.